Hey guys, in this video the lovely team is going to be talking to you about the UK media and the influence that it has on us as part of your GCSE citizenship. Now there are lots of bits that you need to remember in this, and to help you with that, over on my website there are loads of multiple choice questions just waiting for you.
Media in the UK comes in many forms. There is traditional print media, such as newspapers. These can be national, such as The Sun or The Times, or they can be local newspapers, which are specific to an area, city or town. There are magazines. Those may be political, such as Private Eye or New Statesman, or they may be more general interest, or they may be based on specific interests, such as train spotting or fishing. There is radio, both BBC, which is free, such as BBC Radio 1 nationally, or BBC Radio Leeds for a specific area. There is also commercial radio, such as LBC or Capital, which gains its revenue through advertising. There is public service television, BBC, and commercial television, which makes its money through advertising. There are streaming services, such as Netflix or Disney+, and internet media, such as blogs or YouTube. Lastly, there is social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Tabloid newspapers are more concerned with sport, celebrity gossip, and crime stories. They usually have a lower reading age and something a lower standard of journalism. This tends to make them more accessible. They can reduce extremely complicated stories about world affairs or politics and produce them in a way which makes them accessible to the average person. Quite often, tabloids have very heavy and obvious political bias. Daily Mail, for example, has often been thought to have a very heavy political bias towards the right. Tabloids are generally sensationalist. They will make big issues of small things, often engaging in campaigns to that effect. Quite often they will try and produce puns or jokes in an attempt to make content more accessible to their readership. Examples of tabloids include the Daily Mirror, the Daily Express, and the Sun. Broadsheet News, which were so called because their physical pages tend to be much larger than tabloids, are thought of as the more serious newspapers, with a focus on both local, domestic, and international politics, economics, and social affairs. They are generally considered to have a higher standard of journalism and a higher reading age. They are therefore less accessible to the average person. They are aiming at a more educated audience, perhaps one higher up the socioeconomic spectrum. They do have a less overt political bias. However, at elections, most broadsheet newspapers will generally declare themselves to be supporting one or the other parties. This is known as an endorsement. Examples of broadsheet newspapers include The Times, The Guardian, and the Daily Telegraph. Most radio and TV in the UK is funded publicly by the licence fee. It's therefore public service broadcasting, which should be politically neutral. Programmes funded by public service broadcasting must be one of three things. They must be to educate, to inform, or to entertain. Large amounts of TV and some radio is funded commercially. This is done through the sale of advertising space in between programmes or in the advert breaks in between. There are very strict rules around who and what can be advertised on UK television and radio. It's no longer legal, for example, to advertise tobacco products. Fast food cannot be advertised before the watershed. The watershed, 9 p.m, is the time at which it's assumed most young people will have gone to bed, most children will have gone to bed, and therefore the rules around what can be shown are relaxed slightly. Traditional TV and radio is, however, in steady decline, as more and more people, especially the young, move online to streaming platforms like Netflix. Social media in the UK includes things like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. It appeals to a wide but often young audience. Individual social media platforms tend to have a more specific audience. LinkedIn, for example, is mostly used by people in business and professional environments. Facebook has an almost universal audience. Twitter tends to be used by younger people and the more educated. Instagram is heavily biased in favour of women. There is no responsibility for social media posts to be accurate or factual. However, many social media platforms are taking more aggressive fact-checking action, and one often finds that posts on Facebook and Twitter, which have obvious, non-factual information or are outright lies, will be flagged as such. There is an echo chamber phenomenon often on social media, where views in a group all tend to agree and are rarely challenged, which leads people within that group to think that their view is universal and accepted by everybody. There are issues of data security, the safeguarding of personal data. Many scammers will, or even marketing people, will use things like quizzes or personality profiles to gain factual information about people, which can either be used for marketing reasons or to hack passwords. There are safeguarding issues around children and the content they see online, or the ease with which people may message them. Media in the UK is regulated by the Independent Press Standards Organisation, usually abbreviated IPSO. Its goal is to promote and maintain the highest professional standards of journalism. In doing so, it attempts to firstly prevent, but latterly punish, harassment by the press, intrusion into private life by the press. It attempts to uphold accuracy and punish those who deliberately and knowingly publish inaccurate or non-fact check stories. Also attempts to prevent invasion of privacy, mostly of the general public. Ipso therefore investigates complaints made against specific media outlets. It reports on the accuracy and responsibility of publications and may ultimately fine repeat offenders.
Ouch! This is why in some videos I have unexplained scratches.